Good morning, and welcome to your local podcast, My Horse, My Head, and Me, where we talk about the world's coolest Grim Reaper, known as the Dullahan. I'm AJ.
And I'm Jasmine.
So let's get a head start on this by explaining exactly what the Dullahan is.
So, the Dullahan is a headless, unseelie fairy who rides on a black horse from Irish folklore.
The Dullahan is visually seen wearing armor and, of course, without a head. It's either depicted as either having no head or just smoke coming out of where the head usually would be. Generally a rotting human head, and it has the consistency of moldy cheese, which is fun, and the eyes are constantly darting around like flies.
Which is also fun.
The head also glows. How fun!
There are some legends that say the Dullahan rides a 6-horse coach made from dried skin and bones.
Spooky.
The Dullahan symbolizes death and human sacrifice, which is a point that we'll get to in a second. The Dullahan's horse, when it runs, kicks up sparks so that it leaves a trail of fire wherever it goes, and it can also breathe fire through its nose for some reason. So, the Dullahan legend comes from an old Irish god named Crom Dubh, who was the fertility god, whatever that means. The oldest monument that researchers have found dedicated to Crom Dubh seems to have been made about 2200 BC. However, Christianity invaded Ireland in 432 AD, which is when most of their pagan lore got wiped out.
Pissed that the Irish stopped sacrificing humans in his name. So what did he do? Turn into the Grim Reaper, of course. What else would you do? Normally ride out on festivals nights, mainly Samhain, which is essentially the celebration of changing of the seasons on October 31st. So if you're trick-or-treating, make sure to keep an eye out.
During a Dullahan's journey, they will most likely come across locked gates, which you would think would pose somewhat of a problem, but nope, they just kind of open up before them, 'cause magic. After the Dullahan successfully opens any locked gate, it will only stop to call out its victim's name. When this happens, the victim's soul leaves their body immediately, and the Dullahan collects it.
They really don't like when people see it, but if you happen to see it, it will blind you by Mario Kart aiding you with blood to blind you, or using that good old trusty whip made of human spines to whip your eyes out. I think you might not want to go searching out for this guy. Unless, of course, you have a gold coin laying about. Dullahans hate gold. Who would have thought?
Going back to the fairy tidbit, if an unseelie fairy respects a human, they might even befriend it. Or if they really like the human, they can keep them as pets, just like you do with real best friends. Another fun fact, there are both male and female versions of the Dullahan legend. Not sure why, since it seems Crom Dubh was referred to as male, but just between you and me, I think it's because girl Dullahans are pretty darn cute.
Its offsprings and mating process is unclear, or if there's actually more than one, but let's just hope for all of our sakes, it's just good old Crom Dubh.
Good old respectable, nothing weird here, Crom Dubh. This has been My Horse, My Head, and Me. Tune back in next week for lore on the infamous Headless Horseman, also known as the Digimon to the Dullahan's Pokemon. Goodbye! Like, good mythical morning. It's like, no, can't use that.
Yeah, people would recognize it, and then they'd call us out, and then then we get copyright strike.
Then we get an F on our assignment. My head, my horse, and me.
My head, my horse, and me. Yes! Headless Horseman. Which is totally not a ripoff of Dullahan's. Actually, that is good.
The Headless Horseman, the Digimon to the Dullahan's Pokemon.
Oh my god.
Is that good?